Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of the Also Know Better podcast. I am Gilly and I am joined by two able assistants this evening, the first of which is Luke. How are we doing?
Phantasmagorical as ever, feeling very, very well. Looking forward to the weekend and proper football being back.
Fairs. Carl? I am also joined by Carl. How are we doing, Carl?
I'm doing all right, Gilly. How are you, man? I got my my headphones and all that working, so I can hear everything now. I checked for any updates that may need to be done on the laptop, and there is none. So hopefully this goes smoothly.
At least anyway. I would have someone else to talk to this time.
That is very true. Yeah. At least I was present in some form or another. You know what I mean. So I'll take the small wins.
Right, we'll roll an intro and then we'll get into it.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
Leeds are shit.
We're recording, you know.
Oh, shit.
We had a good start. I don't think we've got the personnel.
You can fucking laugh all you want, you absolute bellend.
I think about things. That's why you lot are idiots.
A melted version of a dick that's been shrink wrapped.
The absolute elite shithousery of this. I'm still liking that intro, so we'll refresh that again as we come to the end of the season or before we start for next season. But just the customary aspect. So this evening I am sponsored by Cruz Campo Sevilla, and once that's gone, I will be sponsored by the Black Gold. Genius.
I've got a Northern Monk Faith, which is
nice,
seriously tasty drop if anyone is into that kind of thing, you know.
Very nice. Luke, got anything with you? Protein shake?
No,
water?
Nothing, mate, actually.
Yogurt.
I usually have a protein yogurt or something here, but I ain't got anything apart from my trusty little vape. Actually, two trusty little vapes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And good morning, afternoon, evening, Leeds fans, depending on your time zone, from Roland Buttonubs, who is New Mexico, I want to say.
That's correct, Albuquerque.
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Evening all from Mark Wright. Andy, hey up lads. Steve Brown, evening all. Selenum's with us. Is Luke doing some overdue homework?
I'm actually doing Gilly's overdue homework because he's not uploaded any shit takes ready for the best part. I'm just sending some to Carl now to upload.
This is true.
I am the tech genius.
Paul Atkinson has Echo Falls Summer Fruits, lovely wine. I will take your word for it because that doesn't sound like a red, and red is my tipple unless it's fizzy. Fair enough. So, fair point, Luke, but let's talk about it anyway. That improper football, if it's not proper football, I suppose. We are in an international break. I think I spoke to Carl about this. So, Luke, just before we actually get into the detail of the players that have had call-ups and whatever else, just the break itself, did it feel this time, juxtaposition against last season, that this break came at a decent time for us, whereas last season we could have done without it?
Absolutely, yeah. We managed to pick up. I'm not sure of the exact because I don't remember a lot. In general, so I don't remember a lot. But I don't remember exactly when the international break came in terms of that real good run we were on. I don't know if we'd already slipped up a couple of times before then. But it's absolutely, I think the drop off in form coincides with. Definitely with probably being favourable to us at this particular time. Sheffield United winning games when they probably shouldn't be winning games. Burnley, they seem to have found their feet after 26,000 0-0 draws. That they start beating teams and scoring goals. So I think probably for us, some tired legs out there, and I think probably, arguably. Some of our players probably will benefit from that break more so than some of our competition around us. That said, obviously, people who we would like to have probably had a bit of a rest, Dan James, etc., seem to be playing every minute of every game almost. So, it's it's a tough one, isn't it? You know, they've got to get back from international break. I think, where are Wales playing tonight? Are they at home? I think they're at home, aren't they?
North
No,
Macedonia.
they're in North Macedonia. They're playing against Alioski in his own backyard.
Yeah. So they've got to get back from there, which will be tomorrow now. That's Wednesday, and then he's got Thursday, Friday until we're playing again. So I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure how much information they're given from a Leeds perspective in terms of preparation for the next game at Swansea at home. We tend to do all right against Swansea at home, though. You know, we stole the best players of their squad over the last couple of years in, you know, Dan James and Piru and Rodlan, I think, started there as well. So I think we'll be all right. But I think this break and then Swansea being, and I don't think any games can be classed as easy at this stage of the season in this league, but I think it's probably favourable for us to have a home fixture against Swansea straight after that break, when we've had a bit of time to regather our thoughts and have a bit of a refresh. Players like Aronson, I think, probably will benefit massively from this short break and not going away with the USA. Obviously, Piru's come out today that he didn't put him. You know, he turned down Surinamese international duty as well to focus on promotion. So lots and lots of positives to take out of this particular international break for me, Gilly.
Fairs. So if we just look at the players, obviously some of the ones that have been called up have gone into the under-19s and under-20s, under-21s, but just a run through, and actually it shows some of the capability we've got in the playing staff now. You know, for a long time we didn't really see players going away on international duty. So Sam Chambers and Charlie Crew to Scotland under-19 and Wales under-19 respectively were called up. Tanaka and Gruev played on Thursday. So Tanaka was in Japan playing against Bahrain. Gruev was in Bulgaria playing against Ireland. We had Diogo Monteiro, JB, who's still on our books. Willy Gnonto is one that we'll come back to. He played for Italy under-21s against the Netherlands. Matteo Joseph is another one that we'll touch on as well. He played against the Czechia under-21s. Rory Mahadi is a name that wasn't familiar to me. Have I completely missed something here? Has he been in our squad this season? Because that's a new name.
He has a couple of times. Yeah, Scottish goalkeeper. Right.
Okay. Yeah, vaguely familiar. I'm thinking, is that a little midfielder that I've just completely forgotten about? With Isaac Schmidt played against Northern Ireland for Switzerland as well. Firpo and Solomon, Darlow, Rodon, James. You know, we had quite an extensive list of players that went on the international break. Firpo's an interesting one because when he goes, he plays. He almost plays a false three. I think we had Debs dub it, but he just plays number 10 for them. Even if he starts at fullback, he just plays in the 10 role, which is an interesting one. So just to come back to a couple of, go on.
No, he just seems to have a free reign of it when he's playing for them. Like it's mad, and you kind of saw that coming into play a little bit. You know, in the games up until the defeat at Portsmouth, you kind of saw that as well. You're like, just let him fucking run around. Fuck it. If we have to defend, we'll figure that out when it happens. But just let him run around a little bit.
Yeah, fair. Okay, so just to come back to, I don't know if either of you have or anybody in the comments have heard anything about Willy Gnonto. I think he came home after the first game. He certainly hobbled off with an ice pack on. So first off, have you heard anything more than that?
No, Andrea was asked in a mutual group earlier on, being the Italian correspondent for all things I think that go down in Italia, where Carl is that where you herald from, Carl? I think. Are you what are you today? You Irish?
Yeah. My heritage there, yeah.
Scottish.
My heritage is from there, yeah.
Yeah. I think there's been no news at all about which is, I mean, usually would say no news is good news, but if it wasn't anything major, I think, I mean, we'll probably find out more from the presser, won't we, from Farke, which will likely be Thursday, won't it? So fingers crossed he's all right, to be fair, because I thought he played very, very well in that second half, in that second 45 of the last game. So showed how good he can be. Do you know what I mean? I think he's been relatively ineffective, and I think he's, in games that he probably should have had an effect. Coming on for 20 minutes against tiring legs in the Championship, he probably should have had far more effect this season, and that's the reason. Probably we haven't seen him get as many minutes, and we've seen his capabilities in the Premier League. Daniel Farke didn't manage it in the Premier League. He was our best player this season. We got relegated. He was our Somerville of last season in the Premier League. Get the ball out to the left wing to Willy Gnonto, let him do something special.
Let him run at someone.
Let him run at someone, win a penalty or score or whatever. And unfortunately, we haven't quite seen that form this season. Really, maybe a couple of games. He had chances against Harrogate. Again, in Millwall in the cup, and didn't take him for me. It starts two relatively what you would argue should be relatively easier games, cup games as well, albeit lower level of players around him. Sam Chambers played in the 10 against Millwall. Some would argue he's probably better than Aronson. I know on here, but we'll not get into that tonight. But you know what I mean. So yeah, it was good to see the very best of Willy Gnonto back in that second 45, and a change that needed to be made. I'm not going to I'm not going to sit here and stan any player that didn't deserve to be on the field, because Aronson deserved to be hooked. So yeah, I think it would be a miss. Not just necessarily if it was, because I don't think he would be starting against Swansea. I'll be perfectly honest with you, because I still think the break will serve Aronson well, and Farke will stick to what he knows. But we almost had that plan B. Then we know that we could play Willy Gnonto in that position, and if we can't play him in that position, is it then a case of right? We need to have another little tinker and try something else a little bit different, see if that works in Ramazani or Solomon or something different, maybe somebody else. But yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed he's all right and it's just a knock.
Yeah, fair.
Who said Gnonto?
Arthur in the it wasn't any of us. It was Arthur in the comment before him. So yeah, we were on with Joe, weren't we? And I think I can't remember. Did you join us just after we started?
Podcast friends.
I think you joined us just after we'd started, didn't you? And then I dropped off when my battery died. I left early, but we were talking about that, and I think we all agreed actually that the likelihood is that whatever happened, even at that point, before any question marks around Gnonto or whatever we called. Gnonto, it was likely that Aronson were going to start anyway, given the rest and not travelling and all of that sort of stuff. I think we all said that we expected Farke to start him. Yeah, okay. So I think that's all. It's just a watching brief now, isn't it? For let's see what Farke says.
I think Danny James has started quite handy tonight. Somebody mentioned he's put a couple of good crosses in starting tonight. He's playing opposite. Yeah, you say opposite Alioski. So put a couple of decent crosses in. Had a penalty shout as well. I'm not watching any of the games. I'd usually have
the penalty shout. It was an interesting one, and I were expecting VAR to look at it, but then we were like, well, do they have VAR in North Macedonia? I know they're doing some of the games, and it's almost like, well, they should have it in all of them, or none of them really. For me, if it's in the same competition, they should have it, shouldn't they? Yeah. So that was an interesting one. For me, it was a penalty. And the one cross, he beat Alioski and the inside man. The ball was flashed across, and left winger for Wales just absolutely spooned it. It went further away from goal than before he hit it, which was an interesting one. So yeah, Carl, I'll come to you for the next one then. Matteo Joseph. Why does he play well for them? Not us?
I think we touched on this maybe last week, Luke, as well. It's a different level. Like we saw as well for the under 21s and under 23s for Leeds, that he was very, very good at that level. I think that this season, regardless of how he's played and what the story is for Leeds, I think it's been a serious lesson for him as to what he needs to do to step up to the level that he needs to be at. That's not to say, he's a million miles off by any means, but you can see he's too good for under 23s, but he's just on the peripheral for the first team, and just finding that happy medium, I think for him is where it's going to be important. Like, do we keep him next season in the Premier League? I think a loan spell, potentially to a La Liga club, because he's definitely good enough for, a mid-table La Liga club to be one of their starting strikers. I think, he is that good. Like, but he's just, you can't fault his effort and his combativeness when he's playing, and it's just difficult because you can see there is a player there, and he's just that fraction away from, we thought once he got 1 or 2 goals, he might just explode and get a load of goals. He's just not. He's got 3 goals this season, 3-4 goals.
I think is it 3 goals, 3 assists. I think he's got.
Yeah. So it's probably, in hindsight, he could probably look at that and think, right, that's where my starting point is now. Next season, I need to get 6 goals rather than 3, but it might be at a mid-table Spanish side, in La Liga, or even a top-end championship side. It'd probably be more of a challenge for him than going back to Spain. I think it'd be just the home comforts of Spain that would probably attract him to that kind of move. But like me and Luke were talking about previously, it is a different level at the under-23s, and he's always going to shine at that level because he is just a level above it, I think.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, Gilly, really quickly, just to elaborate slightly. I think. Look, I know I have this fun on Twitter with these. With this
I was going to come to you next, to be fair.
Yeah,
I know you've been in the trenches a little bit.
And it's do you know what? For me, it's all a laugh because I want Matteo Joseph to succeed, and I think with Matteo Joseph, I think a lot of it comes from confidence, and as a young lad as well, I'm almost positive it does. Do I think he's a good player? Absolutely, I think he's a good player, and I think he will be a very good player. I was at the start of the season. After pre-season, I was waxing lyrical after pre-season, thinking that he was going to be arguably the championship's top scorer this season. And I remember saying it. We can all. It's very, very different playing in a non-competitive, and I'll use that in inverted commas, game in comparison to a championship game when it's gritty. You've got 6'5" idiots wanting to kick the shit out of you. That are good idiots. They're not just idiots. They can actually play a bit of football as well. So I think we say it quite often that the weight of the Leeds United badge does weigh heavy. The shirt and the badge does weigh heavy. We're a very expectant fan base. We expect a certain level. And do we see it from him? In terms of his work rate, absolutely. He tries his fucking knackers off. And I rate that. Do you know what I mean? I do rate that. But the conversation started around who should be starting him or Peru, and he's not ready he's simply not ready. And whether that is confidence or not, to be the starting number 9 in a championship and a team that is chasing the championship title. And it's as short as that. But absolutely, we saw how good he was at Chelsea last season in the cup. He took those 2 goals really, really well. And it's almost like I think we do it a lot, don't we? We did it with Joffrey. He got a couple of goals that kept us up, and we thought it was going to be the next. I think even people labelled him the next Wayne Rooney, and it was going to be as good as him. And it's that's fair, man. If you're that type of fan and you believe that shit, you know what I mean? If you actually believe this and you look at numbers and you want to look at spreadsheets to tell me how good a footballer is, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. The fact is, I watch it with my eyes, and I've seen good players, and I've seen, and it's quite apparent that he's not good enough to be leading the line at Leeds United. No, not yet. I think absolutely. Do I think he's got potential? Do I think he's got potential? Absolutely. Do I think he will find that form at some stage, maybe next season or the season after, and people will probably try and throw that in my face. Yeah, absolutely. Because I do think he's a talented footballer, and there's no chance he would be starting for the Spanish under-21s if he wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, the Spanish manager has already earmarked him as a replacement for Morata. He's come out in the press and said he's the ideal replacement. So when you've got like the Spanish national team manager saying that he's going to potentially replace one of their most prolific strikers that they've had, it says an awful lot about the lad. But like we were saying, it's just something's not clicking for him. And once we all know, once it clicks, like Luke and even you, Gilly, were saying there, his work rate is phenomenal. If it clicks for him and he starts adding goals to that work rate, the world is oyster. But at the moment, he's just missing something when he gets his chances.
He's almost like he's trying too hard, isn't he, as well?
Yeah.
Because of that confidence, and he's snapping at stuff, and he's not the goals that he has scored this season have been taken quite well. And I think
the finish against Sheffield United was fantastic. Like, you know what I mean? And he's got it in him, and we've seen it.
A lot of this stuff you see me absolutely bashing him is playful, and I actually enjoy just seeing him get angry about stuff. So most of it is in jest, but yeah, it's one of them. And until he puts the performances in and shows us that he is capable, all we can rely on and believe in is his potential, and ultimately every player that plays for Leeds United has got potential to actually get on the field. So yeah, interesting one. But yeah, I hope he scores again tonight for the 21s, just to give him that little bit of confidence going into the running for us, because it may be that we do need him at some stage in these last 8, and I'd love him to score the winner that takes us up. If that was the case, because I would love it. I'd love it if anybody did it, especially him, just because of the to and fro in this season.
Do you know, it could be just a mental block for him, because he is scoring freely for Spain, and it's like he's getting the same opportunities for us, and he's not doing it. It could just be a pure mental block, and he's kind of like, I finished that for Spain 2 weeks ago. How the hell have I not done it here? Like, what am I doing? What do I need to do? But it could be a number of things, but like, let's be honest. He is going to be a good striker when it does click for him, and hopefully we haven't sold him before that happens.
The one thing I need to mention on him before we move off the conversation is my missus has pointed out that when he's got his hair down, he scores goals for us, and when he's got it in proper patterns and whatever else, he doesn't. So that's what he's got to do. He's just got to let his hair down, and he'll relax, and he'll score goals, and that's the answer. No problem.
I would love it. Mark.
That's what I thought of as well. Yeah. Just one other thing I just wanted to touch on, because Schmidt is playing against Luxembourg tonight. I don't know if you've seen any of his comments, but he's in some doubt as to where his future lies. Have you seen his comments at all?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, just any thoughts, Matt? There's a couple that I've seen that were, he just needs to bide his time, because when Firpo leaves in the summer, he's going to be playing in the Premier League. I mean, he's not playing in the Championship. If Farke's got us into the Premier League, do you see him picking him as his starting fullback when he's not starting him in the Championship? That seems odd to me.
I think Schmidt's been starting at right back. Somebody might correct me in the comments, but I think he's been starting actually at right back for Switzerland. Now, I think we signed him as a backup left back, didn't we? A backup left back. A second backup actually, because if Firpo hasn't been playing, it tends to have been Byram. And then even when Byron wasn't playing, I think we played Vober out there instead of Schmidt. So
we did, yeah. and you got 2 assists, I think, in Cup, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
He did. But Schmidt has also got an assist this season.
Yes.
He got a Pirro assist, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what to make of it, because I think he looks a lively player, but when he's come on for us and he seems to have been playing on one of the wings rather than a left back or right back position. Now, if that's where Farke sees him as his best position for us, then he's actually probably 5th or 6th choice winger.
Yeah.
So that would explain the reason why we've not seen very much of him. But it's an interesting one. I've seen all sorts of theories saying we're saving him for the Premier League and all this sort of stuff. Well, actually, if he was good enough to play for us now, we would use him to get to that stage. If he's, if we're thinking his Premier League level. But I've just seen all sorts of odd takes. But really, really weird one is Schmidt, because I haven't watched much of him ever. But people tell me that he's class. But again, those same people told me that Joel Pirro should be dropped for Matteo Joseph. So. Who do you believe? I mean, I think, has he been underplayed? What's the argument? I just don't know. He sees him in training week in, week out. And I remember comments actually from Farke early on in the season saying that there is an issue with I don't know what words he used. I don't know if it was commitment or his training levels or something like that. It's just in the side of here. I can't remember it, but somebody, I'm sure again, somebody will remember the Farke comments and the quote. So, but yeah, there's clearly a reason that he's not been getting many minutes, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Well, I think what Farke said, he wasn't seemingly able to get up to the pace of the training that they were doing. So the endurance part of it and all that seemed to have been an issue, like the intensity of it. So I don't know, maybe that's it. Like, the Swiss league is a terrible league, let's be honest.
Well, the comment I'm seeing is, I always react to, this is Farke, I always react to what happens on the training pitch and obviously what happens performance-wise during games. That was Farke on Schmidt's lack of playing time. So it's just referring to maybe the work or the capability showing in training. And when he has, I mean, to be honest, albeit very, very short patches, but when he's come on, he's looked all right. But he's not come on in the position that he's been signed to play, has he? As you said, Luke, he's come on the wing rather than at fullback. So it's an interesting one. I reject out of hand completely the fact that he's being saved for the Premier League. If he's good enough for Premier League, he's playing now.
Yeah,
and so I don't see that
point that we forgot about. He has had a couple of niggly injuries. He has,
and he's had sickness. He had a bout of sickness that Farke did say he were hoping to have him back after. So there has been a couple of bits going there.
How can you drop the leading assisting left back in the league anyway? How can you drop him? Like,
I don't think it's a case of that, Cal. I think it's when he's not been available, when he's been banned or injured, and then they've gone to Byram, who they think he's past it. He's one of the old guard and all that sort of stuff.
Charles thought Byram's been past it for 6 years.
Man, he'd have been sold for glue already, that guy. Like.
I say they very loosely, but we all know who I'm referring to. And then obviously when we start Verber at left back, did Byram start right back in the cup, or did Schmidt actually start right back in that game? I can't remember.
No, I think he came on the wing, didn't he?
I think he came on. Yeah, he came on the wing, didn't he? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think it's
not even getting in at that point.
I don't think it's necessarily due to him being playing, fighting for a first team spot. The conversations around him are actually just him getting minutes when probably there are injuries, and that he should be expected to be good enough to come in and do it at this level. So, especially if he's going to be doing it in the Premier League next season.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's fair. I'm just looking for. I don't think there's any more comments in terms of the internationals. It's just shit. I just don't like it. It's just so Tanaka's got a long. He's had a lot of journeying to do. I suppose that's he might have got the most minutes under his belt, but other than that, and so both Bahrain and Saudi were both in Japan. So he's not travelling in between, at least, I guess, but it's a long way away. Now, he'll be turning left, not right on the plane. And it won't be a difficult journey for him to make, but still, it's quite a lot of travelling. But I think out of anybody, he's probably one of the ones that would be most able to deal with that, because they're just his natural work ethic.
Yeah, are we guessing? Because I think he's looked quite leggy recently, and I know, and this has probably been overly harsh on Tanaka, to be fair, because I think he's been outstanding this season and absolutely blown me away for somebody who for £3 million in the Championship. So, but he has been making a couple of mistakes. The game, I think, was it Pompey, was really poor. He gave the ball away for the goal, and
I do remember that.
There's been a couple of, and it does look. I don't know whether it's who he's playing beside, because I think he played beside Gruev in that one. Did Gruev start? I can't remember. But he tends to seem to play better when Rothwell's playing, basically, rather than Gruev that I've seen. But he has looked a little bit tired. So I don't know. I don't know if we're just guessing that he's got this Duracell engine inside him. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Are we guessing, or is it just because we haven't? We realistically, between the three of us, we don't know what he played like in Germany or wherever second league, and we don't know how many games he played and how many minutes. We don't. That's not us, so we're not expected to. But yeah, I think it's probably guesswork. But if I was to look at Tanaka and see what he does do week in, week out, you would argue, just based on what you've seen, that he would be capable to handle that. Nothing seems to phase him. But for me, he certainly looked a little bit tired, shall we say, in recent games.
I think that's fair. I do think that's fair. And he's never played at this level. You mentioned Germany's second tier. It's nowhere near as strong as England's second tier, is it? You don't have the same level of focus, capability. I think our second tier is the strongest in the world. I don't think there's much argument against that. So it's the best, albeit he's played, a very good international standard for Japan against some very good sides, but regularly, domestically, he's not played at this level before, so it is admirable how he's stepped up. Carl, I spoke of you then. We got
no, it's all right, man. He also played 45 minutes in the first game. He got a full second half in the first game, and he played 90 minutes in the second game. The only kind of saving grace there is that he played the 90 minutes yesterday, so Monday he played the 90 minutes.
this morning.
Yeah, so would have been Monday evening, wouldn't it?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So it would have been Monday evening, Tuesday morning.
Yeah. We're looking at UK times. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so he's kind of finished a day earlier than everyone else in terms of that. So hopefully that kind of, helps him out with the long journey as well. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But White Snake Bites is in the house. There was a video popped up. It's just nice one. He said some nice things about us. So welcome, Alois. It's better to be legged than legless.
I prefer being legless at the same time, though.
But not while playing football.
Absolutely not. I'm beyond those days now.
And then Johnny Brown says he's had to talk to the missus during the international break, so he's got a lot to answer for, which is a thing. And I now just point out that Firpo doesn't play until tomorrow night. That's 12 a.m.
Wednesday night.
Wednesday UK time. Which is a tight turnaround. He's in the Caribbean playing, so a little bit of a tight turnaround there. So it's just for Farke. It's just having lunchtime on Friday. Who's turned up and who's fit to play? It's a bit of that, isn't it? It's the far cry still from the Saturday morning trying to ring round to get an amateur side together, but it's not quite what he would be used to during the course of a professional season.
But it is a 3:00 kickoff. Finally, we get a 3:00 kickoff, not a 12:30 one the week after a fucking international break. It's like, holy Christ! But yes, it's a 3:00 kickoff, so that's all good.
Oh, hang on. There's a couple of comments as well. Dan James is coming off, but he survived his 64 minutes. He's not.
Oh, thank Christ! Right, happy days.
So we'll take that. Rodon's playing, so we've Rodon to get home. Tanaka to get home. We're just a few. Solomon. So yeah,
how did Solomon get on? Anyone see
about Solomon?
Solomon. It's a cross between a footballer and the Dark Lord in the Lord of the Rings.
Okay. From your fish, from the dark fishy pond, he rears his head.
Okay, moving off from that. So I just before we move on to talking about the Swansea game, Carl, you had something to tell us about Germany. Have you forgotten?
No, I haven't forgotten.
I have.
Oh, you can't find it
again. About Germany.
Move like silk. This, yeah. Have we not sent somebody over to Germany?
Oh, we have actually. Yeah, we've apparently. I don't know what you're on about there. I'm glad.
I honestly didn't have a clue where you were going.
Totally brain farted there. I thought you were on about something else. Yeah.
Tell me what you want.
No. Apparently, Farke has sent a couple of scouts over to Germany this weekend to keep an eye on a few players. Absolutely zero else in the article bar that as to who the players were, but it looks like it's in anticipation for a positive end of season result. But it also depends
on what Harry Kane. Is that what you're saying?
Well, sure, why not? Like, he's wasted in Germany, isn't he? He'd also be playing in white again, so he'd probably like that a little bit.
I've seen somebody else put earlier long shot Florian Wirtz.
I know it.
Our fan base, man.
I mean, that is accurate. It is a long shot.
Yeah. It's a very long shot. It's hitting 400 yards where you put a long shot. You know what I mean? That's how much a long shot is.
Class.
I mean, the rest of the list weren't particularly much better. I think there were a lot of pie in the sky thinking in there, but it will be very interesting to see if anything comes of that. Obviously, he's been close to the league. He'll have identified some targets that he wanted people to go and look at, so it'll be an interesting one.
Well, Tanaka, look at that. He wanted him last season. You know what I mean? So he's clearly trying to get ahead of the game this year.
Fucking hell, I didn't know that. Johnny Brown tells us it's from Alan Nixon. Alan Nixon knows less about football than Luke. So we'll leave that one there.
Okay. Well, then I've no news from Germany then.
Thanks, Carl. But you did still have news about Germany. It was it had been reported.
It had been reported. There was no confirmation, but hopefully we're getting ahead of the game here because it needs it. It needs it.
Okay. So
where's he gone?
I'm not sure where he's gone. I'm just going to have a look because he's kind of left us in the lurch a little bit, and it's his bit for this.
Hey, has got a shit tick this week, my little spat of fact.
And I've absolutely no idea what's in these. So I'm in a very dangerous position where I'm trusting what Luke. Oh no, actually, you've uploaded these.
Yeah, but Luke put them in the chat.
Oh, yeah, you put them in the chat, but you've got an opportunity to read them, so I can blame you for it.
Nah, fuck that. You're on your own here, sunshine. I haven't even read them.
Right, we've four in the in the media asset, so we'll just pop these up. SHS says to us, honestly, not going up will be a blessing in disguise. It will at least get rid of Farke. I mean, I was just saying, Luke, I'd not seen any of these in advance, so I'm trusting there's nothing here.
You're on mute, mate.
Sorry, mate. I heard everything that was said. So I just been to the bills out.
Feels like a fucking Teams call in here sometimes.
Will you be able to do a poll, please, Luke?
Yep.
Pop up the second one. I mean, this guy, anybody that's ever been on Twitter has seen some of the shite that this guy's come out with over the years. But why and right Americans out? Lone White 101 on Twitter says, in what way does he think he has improved? By dropping leagues, he think he has improved? He got less Leeds goals this season than last. One worst players on the pitch last 2 games. 32 games, 2 goals against top 10 sides, just 3 assists versus top 10. Disaster player, 25 million.
Well, we know who he's on about there, don't we?
Who do you think he's on about?
Dan James.
Yeah.
I like. Look, right. I want to just give my 2 pence worth here on this, right? There was a reason Bielsa wanted to sign him when he was starting to show promise and the potential that he is starting to show at the moment. But when he went to that lot over the Pennines, I think that kind of hampered him a bit. And he was never really it was never a space that he wanted to be in. And when he came back, he was all over the shop. And
literally all over the shop. You know, he would be asked to play up front and all that because we had nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. So like that can be detriment to any kind of player's progression when they're very well known as an out and out winger to be played down the center or whatever the case may be. It's not good for their development. So I'm not saying that, Bielsa was wrong or whatever, but Bielsa had to make do with what he had. And that seemed to be one of the outballs when we wanted to get forward really quickly. And
he's 27 now. So when he was at the scrum, he'd have been
24. 24.
And that's quite early, he were playing in Champions League and whatever else. And we know that he's a player that relies on his pace. But then to come back into a Bielsa team that very, very well drilled, they all understand the roles. But his role to be so completely different to what he would have to do prior. And what had got him to that position is a challenge for anybody to come into. But to try to get up to speed and playing at a different level. Getting kicked the shit out of every week in a way that you just don't in the Premier League and Champions League. He's so completely different, isn't it? So lots and lots of different challenges there. But I mean, it's just a complete. It's in the shit takes for a reason. It's just a complete nonsense because him and Solomon have been flying.
Yeah,
surely nobody's arguing that. Surely,
but
No, they are.
Sorry, just Luke, that other lot were an absolute clown show as well when he was there. Like, so that's going to wreck his development as well. Like, but sorry, Luke, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, man. Go for it.
No, I was just confirming that there are more than you'd think actually shouting for those two or one of those or both of those to be dropped.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's mind blowing. They've been dynamite since like November. They've been brilliant.
Yeah. The thing is with those two, you can swap them over and back, and they're both lethal on either side. Like, you've got Solomon, who can definitely cut down on the left for a right-footed player to get it in the box, and Dan James cutting in from the right to have a blast with his right foot. It's just like the options are endless there, and it'd be silly to alter the team too much just because a few people online are saying, not up to it.
They're not going to do anyway. And I do rate Gnonto and Ramazani. I think they're both very capable players, especially at this level. But Solomon and James have been brilliant.
Yeah. Well, like you saw when Solomon was out, Willy had a great out run in the side, but then it got to the point where he was kind of easing Solomon back into it. Now, like we mentioned before, it took Solomon a lot longer to get back into his groove than other players that we've known, But once he got back into it, Willy, he was the one coming on at 60, 70 minutes then, rather than the other way around. And maybe that's hampered Willy's confidence a bit, because he was playing quite well when Solomon was out of the team. But again, that's the kind of squad you want, though. That's the competitive squad that makes a team a league winning team. It's that you've players sitting on the bench who are happy for the team, but they're pissed off they're not playing because they know that they can do exactly what they need to do to be in that team. It's just there's a player there who's absolutely bang on form, and there's nothing you can do about that.
And the one thing that for me must be said is Ramazani looked brilliant when he was in the side.
Yeah.
And he got an injury, and it meant that Solomon did come back in, or that might have been when Gnonto came back in. But he got injured. He picked up a niggle and went out for 2-3 weeks. And that's why you need that depth. And actually on the wings, it's a little bit, I've said it before, it's a little bit of an embarrassment to riches at this level. The fact that we've got Gnonto and Ramazani on the bench is quite ludicrous, really.
Yeah.
Luke,
you're on mute, Luke.
That is the I keep muting myself. Just to shout the girls every 2 minutes. And then
Shut up!
I don't want Bernardo's on my doorstep, man. You know what I mean? They hear about some of the stuff I say. It is an embarrassment of riches. Exactly that. Do you know what I mean? It's and it's such a nice position to be in. The fact that we are arguing about who should be starting left back, centre back. Not centre back, but even often centre back, left back, centre back, centre midfield, wingers up top. It is a nice position to have, and it's not something we've become accustomed to very much at Leeds. We've always noticed, or we've always recognised that actually there is a huge gap. We haven't got enough central midfielders, for instance. When Click was there and KP, when one of those got injured, we had nobody. We were relying on people like Jamie Shackleton to come in and play there.
Strike to come in, and
and Cock. Actually, Cock had an all right game at central defensive midfield. One of the few I remember. Same with Christensen. Actually, he had quite a good game at central defensive midfield. I forget who we played. City, maybe even. I think. No, it wasn't City. It was somebody else. But anyway,
I do remember him having an average game, which is better than most.
I mean, it was average, but better than what. Yeah. I mean, they looked all right in there. Which is why it's definitely not the hardest position on the field, Cal, by the way. If Robin Koch and Robert Christensen could do it. Robert Christensen? What's his first name?
I think you need to stop talking.
Rasmus. I think for me, it is an embarrassment to Richmond, something we're not come accustomed to. And I think that does naturally create divide, because then that's why people are saying, why ain't this player playing? Why ain't that player playing? And it's a nice position to be in. It is nice.
Yeah, but it's daft to be fuming when we're top of the league and the players that are playing are on form. Okay, moving on to the next shit take is this is Adam LSXI thought you meant less than Joseph total altogether. Data tells you he'd have more assists than Arrington if he played the same minutes. He has got more assists than Arrington.
Exactly. That was the shit take. The fact that he's already got more, and the fact that he was trying to use prove a point by using data against me to say, actually, you know what? He would have got more assists had he played the same amount of minutes. But actually, the data says so. The data that's wrong.
But Joseph's got more assists playing less minutes.
Exactly. I pissed myself at that one. Absolutely.
That one speaks for itself. And then the last shit take I've got is international football isn't the same as the ball bashing of the championship. Ooh, yeah, the big hard championship where we dominate most games is 70% of the ball and don't concede more than a few shots per game. Give it a rest, pal. And then, Luke, you replied with nuts you. The best players in that Northern Ireland squad line up versus Switzerland playing championship or lower level.
Yeah, so his argument was that the big hard championship, when he was comparing that to be, I suppose, a bit of a lower level compared to international football, when actually the team they played against, their best players were playing in the championship, and arguably worse leagues. So they've got players from Leyton Orient in that squad, in the Northern Ireland squad. They've got players from playing somewhere in
Birmingham City.
Yeah, players in League One. They've got players. Essentially, it is a low-level championship squad. Yeah, EFL squad at best.
Right. So our options of shit take are the not going up will be a blessing. At least we'll get rid of Farke. It's the Dan James. It's the data tells you, and it's the Big Hard Championship. If you can sort the poll out, please, and we'll revisit that at the end. Cool.
I'll do a few comments, man.
Yeah, just going to spin through. I need to switch back.
Jesus, hold on a second. Arthur Bushby there now has prematurely gone in with the prediction that we're not there yet, Arthur.
Sweden versus Northern Ireland.
Keep your gun loaded there, will you? We're nowhere near that section yet. Gilly's hosting, man.
Oh, yeah. No, that's because I put in the comments, hit like if you think Leeds will beat Swansea at the weekend. That might be the reason.
Your fault then.
Possibly. But if you don't smash a like, we'll lose.
Oh God! Right, okay, moving
it's
on.
Your fault. Yes, you. Your fault.
We're liking this fan base, man. Don't be doing shit like that. Fragile fuck.
Just spinning through some of the comments. Arthur Bushby says Leeds wearing different on front off shirts. Different on front off shirts.
Different
Saturday.
sponsor.
Yeah, well, yeah. So the Wings for Life World Run. I don't know if you've seen anything about it at all, but Leeds will be changing their kit slightly. So the Wings for Life World Run hosts a series of events across the UK to raise money for spinal cord injury research. And on the 4th of May, there is a run event in Leeds to take place. So sounds like a good do and a good reason to change the kit. So fair play. One of the words does appear to be in red font, so somebody will be crying about that somewhere.
Yeah, well, we've got Red Bull on there
what
anyway.
What are they changing then? What they're wearing?
Wings for Life World Run, it says. It's a charity-sponsored event thing for spinal cord surgery.
And is that linked to Red Bull?
No,
it's just written in red.
It's written in red.
All right, okay. It's not. So it's not the sponsor. It's just a little. It's a little.
Oh yeah, it's like red tide.
It replaces the.
Oh, it replaces the full logo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Just for one game though.
Yeah. So they must have agreed it with Red Bull that they can do that. So
imagine Red Bull refusing the charity. What a bunch of pricks.
No, I won't put it past them, mate. No, don't get me started on that. We'll be here forever.
Yeah.
Smarty, here's one for you, Luke. I reckon this might have been tongue in cheek, but Smarty says Joseph smashing him into Spain should be starting for us. Are you having that?
Nah, Smarty knows the score.
He's taking the piss.
Blazed Ray says, Carl, I want you on this. Blazed Ray says, I think Arrington will start this rate even if he was in a wheelchair.
As much as I don't want to slag Farke off because he's doing quite the job, I think he's right, to be fair. I was thinking just walking up the stairs to my corner studio. That's this corner of my bedroom.
Corner of his cell.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh no, I've moved, man.
He's not in Hamley anymore. He's got out.
I meant prison, but
oh, that's it. Yeah. Well, they've got fucking TikTok and everything in prison now, man. Surely I can host a podcast.
Have you had one of them? Have you had one of them naughty prison guards screws?
No.
Like in what
Screw with the screw.
Was that Wansford? Was it?
Yeah,
I don't think it was real, was it?
It was real. Yeah, she's just been sentenced.
Oh shit!
Really?
I thought she was a porn star. I thought it was all a mock-up.
No, she was just been sentenced.
Wow!
Yeah, fucking hell, fair play to her.
Solomon's gone off after 52 minutes as well.
Fucking hell, fair play to her for getting arrested and charged.
Well, sure, she got her way, like, you know what I mean.
Let's get off the subject anyway, because we know fucking nothing about it.
But anyway, Blaze Rays, I think he's going to start Aronson anyway, even if Gnonto's fit, because if it's not broken, don't fix it. Kind of scenario.
Correct.
Matt Barlow says, I'm hoping Gnonto isn't out for a while, but he hasn't played much anyway, so it wouldn't be too much of a miss if he's out. Might give Ramazani a chance for more minutes off the bench. Luke, you on this one. I mentioned just now about Ramazani playing well earlier in the season before he got a niggle. Wouldn't be too bad seeing him come in, would it?
No, absolutely not. I'd like to see Ramazani get a few more minutes, and despite my ongoing spats on social media. I'd love to see him get some more minutes, if I'm honest with you, but not at the expense, not just for the sake of him getting minutes. I want the team to ultimately go out and win the game of football. Do I think we probably should have seen more minutes from when we're already in control of games, possibly, but at the expense of Gnonto, I'm not sure I fully agree. I go back to my earlier comments that actually I rated Gnonto's second half performance the other day, and we came back from 2-0 down against QPR. So I would have liked to have seen a little bit more on Gnonto in this running, because he got a bit of a grit between the teeth, and it was nice to see. I think it was arguably probably one of the only times, if not the only time, we've really seen it from him this season, where he's actually took the game by the scruff of the neck. And we've seen what he could do. I'm not saying Ramazani isn't capable, but I still think Gnonto, if he's not even on the bench, it would be quite a big miss for us.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly on that one. He's shown his effectiveness at this level and at a level above. So, Carl, Matt Ballo also says, am I the only one who isn't 100% sure we're going up? If we end in playoffs, I honestly can't see us getting the job done. I've seen us straight away too many times over the years. That's echoed by a lot of Leeds fans, that second bit, isn't it? But address the first bit first. 100% sure we're going up?
I think so, yeah. I don't see why we can't.
Are you 100% sure? And then say think, though. That's not 100%
okay,
sure.
Yeah. We're going to go up. Like I always said, that the gap we need to maintain is to third. It's not second. Just maintain the gap to third. I don't care whether, it'd be nice to win it, but it'd also be nice to have a huge party at Ellen Road on the second to last day of the season. So as long as we maintain a gap to third, that's what we should be maintaining. And if we don't maintain that, then we're absolutely foobar. But it's the gap to third. That's it. As long as
he is at 2 points at the moment, but we have a 10 better goal difference than Burnley.
But like I've said for quite a while, man, it's the gap to third that we need to worry about. I don't care about top. Well, like I said, it'd be nice to win it.
Be nice, yeah.
But at the end of the day, the money for winning it is no different to coming second, really. Like the big money is in the playoffs, and we don't fucking want that big money because that's a poison chalice for us. So yeah, just maintain the gap to second or to third.
I don't think there's money in the playoffs, is there? It's only the richest game of football because you get Premier League money. It's not about the actual playoffs itself.
Well, no, it is. It's the advertising, and it's it's sold all over the world. Like it's one of the biggest.
Yeah, but I thought that were all rolled into the rights deal across the course of the season.
But it's worth 120 million or something on its
own. No, that's the Premier League money that you're thinking of.
Yeah,
that's the richest game in football because you get Premier League money.
You're either 120 million richer or you're not. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, fair. Excuse me.
You don't get 120 million for playoff final.
But anyway, fuck the playoffs. I don't want them.
Yes, absolutely
Maintain
agree.
the gap to third, and we're done. So, do I honestly think we're going up 100%? Yes, as long as that gap is maintained, we're fine.
But not 100% that we're going to be champions. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's not asking are we going to be 100% champions.
All right. I'm gonna answer the first part of that, and I'm gonna say no, and I'm the happiest of happy clappers. I'm never 100%. I would probably say I am about. This is about 70-30. I am now.
Oh, that's low. I thought you were going to say 80 plus.
That burnt a little bit, didn't it? Just because. Firstly, recent form. I don't think we've been great where the others around us have. Not necessarily great, but Sheffield United have been winning games when it's been tough, and we haven't.
And that's the old adage, isn't it? Win when you're not playing well.
Yeah. And Burnley have been in relatively decent form and learned how to score a few goals as well, which is dangerous for us at this stage of the season. So that's my only reasoning. I still think we're the best team in this league. I think, and I'll say it. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. The only team that can stop us going up is Leeds United. I don't think there's another team. On paper, we should probably be every team that we've got up in the next 8. We should.
Yeah.
The thing is as well, we have to remember that Burnley and Sheffield United have to play each other.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And we also have to remember that they're both away to Coventry, which we know now at the moment is not the easiest fixture going at the minute.
Here is the thing. Now, I don't want to give any plaudits to him, who must not be named, but I've got the form table in front of me. We've got
the top, aren't they?
The top, yeah, they are. So the last 10 games, the fourth best team in the division in the last 10 games is Leeds. Joint second is Sheffield United and Burnley, and top is Coventry. They've taken 24 points from 10 games. So
I'd love them to take another 6 in the next few.
It'd be all right, wouldn't it? It would be all right. Now, Coventry have lost 2 games in that 10, but they've won all the others. They haven't drawn one. So
one of them was to us.
It is a good run. One of them was to us, but it is a good run. Burnley are unbeaten in that run, but they've drawn 4. And Sheffield United have lost 2. We've only lost 1. So
we lost 1 in 18 or 19. We've lost 1 in 18
since
or 19.
November in the
since
league.
November, and people's arses are falling out.
But do you know what?
Chill.
Does that not frighten you a little bit that we've still not pulled away when we've only lost one since November? Do you know from a lot of seasons, one team, Leicester last season, for instance, pulled away with that sort of form.
But they pulled away before Christmas. They were on 17 before Christmas. So
and we went on the best run we'd had in 90,000 years or whatever it was.
Yeah. So it swings and roundabouts. I get your point, but they were we had a very, very slow start to last season, extremely slow start, and we were all sitting here going, "Oh, if we'd have won this game and not drawn that," and and we were kind of like, "Well, it doesn't matter. Look at how far they are ahead anyway." I don't think we could have asked for a better run up until we lost to Pompey. Everyone has taken that run and gone, sound grand. We should have won 1 or 2 of those.
Expectancy of our fan base, and there is a little bit of a little bit creeping in that. The fan base, it does become a little bit overly expectant, and we go into this, and there's a fine line between expectancy and entitlement, but nobody's entitled to win a game of football just because you've got the best footballers on the field. We've seen many times teams fail. Greece won a fucking Euros, for God's sake.
We beat Man City with 10 men.
Yeah,
it's ludicrous. So, no, that's fair. Moving us on then, because otherwise we're going to run out of time. Roland Buttonubs makes a very good point in answer to Mark. Is relax, Mark Barlow. Leeds have won the Championship the last 3 times. Liverpool have won the Premier League, and they're pretty nailed on. So
I like that.
It's a very, very good.
Is that the same Mark Barlow from Take That?
Probably not.
Mark Owen, isn't it?
Mark Owen, Gary
Barlow.
Gary Barlow. So it's Mark Owen and Gary Barlow's love child.
Take this.
I'd rather not, thanks. Moving on. Blaze Ray says, I sadly think the club outgrows Joseph if we go up. Carl, you mentioned before about potentially him going out on loan. I think there is a player there. I think we've all said we think there is a player there. Have we seen enough to think that he's got enough potential to be with us over the course of the future rather than going out on loan and then just petering out?
I think so. It's like he's 20, isn't he? He's not. I don't think he's even 21 yet, is he?
Well, he's in under 21s, so he's around that.
Yeah. So I think there's absolutely loads of time for his development to kick in. I don't think, like, as long as I think the best thing for him is a full season out on loan as the main man at a club. Look what it's done to Joffrey. He's gone to Hull. I work with a Hull fan, and she absolutely loves Joffrey. She thinks he's the absolute dog's bollocks. And when you watch his performances, he's got man of the match. He's got a couple of goals, and he's got a couple of assists.
Season, I think.
At the moment, she'd vote for him as player of the season.
Did I say player? Honestly, I meant player at month.
No, player. She said she'd vote player of the season. To be fair,
wow.
But like, maybe that's what Joseph needs now. You know what I mean? Like Joffrey went to Sunderland, didn't work out for him. Came back, got a few games here and there. Then he went out and loaned somewhere else, didn't he, for a little while? Or was it he? Or is it just been Sunderland and Hull? Sunderland and Hull. Then
yeah, that's right.
But he's absolutely smashing it at Hull. I've watched a couple of their games strictly.
You're making me slightly uncomfortable calling him Hull when we all know that he's Hull. There's no way.
Yeah, but
just
I know it is for you, like, but I
that Italian heritage.
Like, no, it's the fucking West of Ireland heritage where we pronounce most letters.
And you even add H's in, don't you? That's the issue.
Yeah.
West of Ireland.
What I would say on Matteo is if we do get promoted, is I think he goes out on loan. Pirro moves to back up on the bench. So if you're chasing a game, he can get a goal, and we sign a proper striker.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be happy with Liam Delap, I think, but I think he's probably going to be out of our price range. But I've just worked out. I've just actually cracked it as to why Matteo Joseph is so shit in front of goal for us.
Oh man,
he's a relative of Emil Heskey.
Oh yeah, we knew that. It's
I've just get ready when
who really works hard but didn't score enough goals.
Get ready when those MJ fans come for me on Twitter.
Won a Champions League though, didn't he?
He did.
So you know what I mean? With Champions League and FA Cup.
He scored against Germany in a 5-1 rout in their own backyard.
Yeah.
That was nice.
It doesn't come from bad pedigree, to be fair. Like,
right. Deb says trying too hard and Lady Luck not helping. I think that is about Joseph, isn't it? A touch of the Tyler Roberts about him.
Yeah. What? But I think he's a bit better than Tyler Roberts. Let's be honest. I think.
No. I just meant in terms of the trying too hard bit.
Oh yeah.
Tyler Roberts got sent off for Northampton the other day, I think.
Did he?
Wow.
Yeah, that's who he's playing for. I think that's right. I could be wrong. Let me fact check that.
Yeah, you're fine. You have a look at that while I say morning or evening to White Snake Bites, who we said hello to before. Easy B says, how can Farke be doing a fantastic job? I'll just remind everybody that we are top of the league at the moment. How can Farke be doing a fantastic job? He's got easily the best squad. He just doesn't know how to manage it. I'll just let that percolate for a moment. And just while you're fact-checking yourself, Luke, Carl, I'll come to you.
No, it's true. It is true. He got sent off. I don't know if he got sent off, but he's playing for Northampton Town in League One.
Right. Some climb. Yeah, Carl, how can Farke be doing a fantastic job?
Well, we scored the most goals when everyone thought we didn't have any goals anywhere on the pitch. Granted, he could do it maybe not messing with the setup of the team, but maybe rotating one player perhaps per game and just, give a bit of fresh light. But let's see, I was going to say that.
You're going to have to read it out now for the audio listeners.
White Snake Bites goes, that's shit take of the week. Close the poll. So he can't be doing a shit job if we're top of the league and we've scored the most goals. That really doesn't make sense.
We've got one of the best defenses as well. And this argument that we've got the best
shots on goal. you know, it just baffles me. Like I get that he can be criticized for certain elements of his match day thing, where he doesn't make changes particularly early, and he can be criticized for that thing. But he is doing quite a fantastic job having us top of the league with the amount of goals we
Thinks
scored.
he's doing a bad job now. Wait till if we get promoted, man. Fucking hell, get ready.
Yeah, but equally, just think of the injuries he's had to overcome. Strike out, Ampadu out, Gruev out. Ampadu and Gruev were starting in midfield. They were both out. He's had to bring in Tanaka and Rothwell. He's had to manage them through games. He's had Strike out for a period. Ampadu's now he's club captain. So you've lost your vice captain and then you've lost your club captain. You've had Ramazani were on form, got injured, had to come out of the side. You had Solomon on form, got injured, had to come out of the side. Dan James had a hamstring injury early on in the season. You know, Gnonto's Gnonto's also had his injuries. You know, and then you look at Firpo's bans. Firpo's always going to get banned.
Yeah,
but he's had niggles too. Bogle had to come out. Has
been out for one. Yeah.
So I think when you consider that, and you also consider, and albeit I said I would go a different route, and I would appreciate Farke going a different route on the Meslier situation. That was a situation that needed to be managed, and he managed it. And I wanted him dropped after that Sunderland game. I did. Openly stated it on here. I really wanted Meslier dropped after that Sunderland game. He went on to have, 6 clean sheets in next 7 games?
It's like what? Like, okay, if Farke isn't doing a fantastic job, then easy. What do you consider a fantastic job?
So just before you ask that question, I'm just going to come on to the next sad one because it's also from the same guy. Fans are passionate. I'm passionate that Farke are out. I want my club to be successful. Happy clappers can clap to their heart's content. It's all about opinions. Absolutely right. It's all about opinions. We welcome opinions on here. We want to hear them. Yeah. For me, it's really difficult to criticise a manager that's dealt with all of those injuries and got his side to the top of the league.
Is that message not contradictory? He wants his club to be successful, but not top of the league successful.
I think maybe he's saying we should be 20 points clear or something. You can confirm.
Well, arguably, if it wasn't for Melior's brain farts in a couple of games, maybe we could probably have another 5 or 6 points on where we are now. So Daniel Farke cannot be blamed for individual mistakes. Simple as that.
Look, sorry, Luke. Sorry, yeah.
No, you're all right. You carry on, Carl. It's your show.
Sorry, man.
No, go on, mate. I think I've said enough.
I think for the last three games, QPR should have had a penalty. Should have had Pirro should have had 2 goals. James at the crossbar. Firpo should have fucking absolutely slammed it home. That's a win. Portsmouth, same thing. We just didn't start right. We got punished, and they absolutely defended for their absolute lives. And we should have had
some wonder saves in both.
Wonder saves in both, and we should have had a penalty against Portsmouth as well when James got kicked up into the air. You don't know what a goal in that scenario does to the momentum that we can potentially shift on the game. There's so many elements of it like that you're kind of looking at, and you're like, we're actually quite good. Sometimes you don't get the break. That's it.
Yeah,
it's the break of the ball, and you can't. No manager can account for your number one striker missing 2 gilt edge opportunities. You can't, a manager. That's not a manager's fault. You know what I mean.
You're not going to win every game of football, and look, Daniel Farke is doing, I think, a very, very good job. And I'd certainly not Farke out. At this stage of the season, why the fuck would you be Farke out? Do you know what I mean? Why would you want to sack your manager with 8 games left? Honestly, but you use the example earlier. We beat Manchester City at the Etihad with 10 men.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they were at their
so
peak.
Pep out. Sack Pep.
Yeah,
Pep,
do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. You can't necessarily take game states come into it, player performances, and you can't necessarily. Do you think the fans blamed that one on Pep and they thought, actually, do you know what? It's his fault that we got beat by Leeds, who probably arguably should have been relegated the season after. So it's Yeah, it's one of them, and you're never going to win every game of football, even if you had 11, the best 11 players in the world in their respectful position. You would, if you played 10 games of football, the chances are you would probably lose one.
Yeah, and you've got his name behind you, and you've mentioned him a couple of times there. His Bielsa said, "If players were robots and not human, I'd win every game."
Yeah.
So he's accepting that it doesn't matter how good the humans are that you are putting on a football field, they're going to get beat at times. That's just football. If it was dead predictable, we wouldn't love it so much, would we?
No. But Scooby is just one comment here before we move on to Swansea. I know we're absolutely running over here.
Yeah, we are running over.
Yeah, so just this last one. Question, do you think Farke will cut mustard in Prem? I don't. Not saying he doesn't deserve his chance. Not saying Farke out. Just the question. And I'm going to answer that fairly. Farke didn't get backed in 2 seasons financially when he was with Norwich. And we've said this before. And the guy at the Canary podcast even came on and reiterated that point when we were looking at signing Farke. And he said if Farke was back correctly with the way he played football, I even think we need 5 or 6 added, top quality added to this squad that we have now, 5 or 6. And if he's backed with 5 or 6 quality players, we don't know what could happen. There could be the difference between battling relegation and fighting mid-table.
Ultimately, the goal, if we do get promoted, is to finish 17th.
Yeah.
Anything else is a bonus.
But that's the thing. So I think if he's backed, we don't know what will happen because he's never been backed in the Premier League. And that's the simple fact.
And he'll be given a chance if we do get promoted, obviously. We'll be given a chance to do it.
I do think he will.
But I also agree with Scooby's second after that. You're not saying he doesn't deserve his chance, because he does deserve a chance. If he gets promoted and they back him, we might see him change his style somewhat. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to control games like we do in the Championship, and ultimately, that's up to that will determine of how good a manager is. If he can change his style, and we draw some games and pick up wins where we probably shouldn't do in that league, and we've managed to finish 17th and stay in that league, that will be a success. And will that be classed as cutting the mustard? I would argue yes.
Yeah. And just one thing before we move on, this will be the end of it for me.
I said that last time.
What did we say to Norwich fans or Ipswich fans all last season? When they were complaining about fucking, we're doing this and we're conceding 95th minute equalizers. Enjoy it now, because when you get there, it's pure shite. and look at them now, nearly rock bottom. Granted, they've had 1 or 2 good results, but 1 or 2 good results isn't going to wash over the fact that you're absolute garbage in the Premier League. So enjoy it now, because we might not enjoy it as much next season. So that's all I'm saying.
Fair. Right, I'm going to move us on. I'll bring us on to Swansea. So I've just got some head-to-head stats in front of me, and hopefully I'm going to make you feel good about this coming weekend. Head-to-head versus Swansea is 1-5, lost 1, drawn 1. Goals for 16, goals against 8. We are in first, they are in 16th. We've got 80 points, they've got 44. And if you just consider the promotion season under Bielsa, really the thing that sticks out for me was that's where I really felt like I knew it was the Pablo, it was the Ayling run, and it was the Pablo goal. It was that bit and that commentary that sticks in the mind. It was, for me, it was that bit, and that's when I thought, here we are. Show us again, Cal. That's the one. That is the one. Pablo Hernandez scores a goal for Leeds United. Goal. That one.
You've seen the videos of people smashing their light fittings and screaming at the wives and kicking sofas and
Matthew, that's excessive. Fuck off.
Matthew, that's a bit excessive. Fuck off.
Now, did you know that it's an ex-Leeds gaffer that's at Swansea? Not an ex-Leeds gaffer, an ex-Leeds player that's the gaffer at Swansea now. Did you know? Alan Sheehan?
Oh, when did he take over?
He only played 20 odd times for us, but he took over quite recently. Yes, he was, and it was really during quite a poor period, let's say, that we had him.
It was a transitional period.
I remember him quite favourably.
He was in the Dennis Wise team.
He didn't have great hair, and
did he have a bushy gingery blonde thing?
I don't know about gingery blonde. He might have dyed it at one point, but I think it was quite dark. But it were bushy. It wasn't long hair, but it were bushy. It just looked like he'd just woken up. Yeah. So if you consider there's an ex-Leeds player there as their gaffer, but we've got Pirro, we've got James, we've got Rodon, we've got history. We've got recent history against the South Wales opposition in that we absolutely smashed Cardiff to Kingdom Come. There's all sorts of reasons for this to, I expect Pirro to score against his old side. He scored lots of goals. He should be coming off this international break really fit and raring to go. The comments that he's made about Suriname and whatever else, I think that's been posited well at the fan base to say, I'm the man and I'm concentrating on Leeds to get us promoted, blah, blah, blah. So, fine. I'm all right with that. It might be a bit of kidology, but I'm okay with that. But we're in a situation where, really, there ought to be no fear, surely. Carl, any fear in this one?
I don't think so, no, because hasn't Willy Gnonto got one of the best goal scoring records against Swansea of any Leeds player in the current squad or something?
The same Willy Gnonto that might be out injured.
No, I'm just saying, like we don't know if he's going to be injured or not. He might not be. Precautionary taking him off against for the under-21s. But you've got players in the squad, like you were saying there, Pirro. He scored against them in the return fixture at Swansea. So I think looking at it, I think at home we're very, very dominant when the ball is when we have the ball, and we've shown we've got the beating of them. Granted, we let in 3 sloppy goals when we played down at their place, but I think they were very kind of preventable goals. And I think we've kind of come a long way from there, since that was part of the start of the 17 game run. You know what I mean? So up to that point, I think we conceded the least shots on goal in the championship up until that point, and then all of a sudden we concede 3 goals, which is just where that's totally out of the blue. But I think we've come quite a way away since that game, and we've learned a lot about the squad and the players that we have in it as well. And look, I'm confident that we'll beat Swansea on Saturday, and I don't see why there's any reason to panic. I think it's we're dominant at home. There's been one win, well, 2 wins if you include the FA Cup against Millwall. Or losses rather, and I genuinely don't think we have anything to worry about on Saturday, because it's not going to be one of those freak ones, I don't think, and it's just going to be we'll bide our time. It'll be a frustrating opening 10 minutes, I'd imagine, and then we'll just we'll start to get our rhythm going into it. Then I think from there on.
Fair, Luke. Sheffield United play Coventry on Friday night, and Burnley kick off against Bristol same time we do. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff. Coventry top of the form table, as we said. Bristol are actually joint on points with West Brom in 6th. So they're pushing for playoffs. And you look at Swansea, like I said, they're in 16, 44 points, and we're on 80. You certainly wouldn't want to swap opponents for this coming weekend or coming off the international break, would you?
Absolutely not. No, I think we've got them by far the most favourable of the 3 fixtures. But again, as we've reiterated on this show, football has a way of throwing up the odd surprise. So, but I feel quietly confident that, well, not even quietly, just confident that we'll be taking all 3 points on Saturday. I think that there is potential one of those two does drop some points this weekend.
You'll be right.
Yeah, which will be obviously a positive outcome for us if either of them drop points or both. Ideally, both get smashed 4-0 and get all the players injured.
That'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it's not realistic. You know, if we're realistic,
Sit there with a cigar.
I think Sheffield United may even play for a draw potentially. They'd be quite happy with a draw there. And Burnley, I expect Burnley probably to beat Bristol in a close game.
I mean, they're all close games that they're having out there. So, yeah, but they just seem to be turning those draws into victories now. So it will be interesting. Okay, so in terms of the lineup then, just to touch on that before we come on to the predictions. Luke, I think we've already mentioned that we expect Harrington to start. Gnonto aside, because we don't expect that he would have started. The question mark was over whether it would be him starting over Harrington, and we think Harrington starts whether he's injured, whether Gnonto's injured or not.
Yeah.
Any major changes? Albeit question marks over whether people come back fit from the international break. But by choice.
I would make one or two changes because I think the Swansea at home is the type of game that we probably can probably get away with that because we've still got the quality. I would probably give Dan James a bit more rest and maybe look at starting Ramazani and potentially Solomon as well. So if Gnonto is fit, maybe give Gnonto a run on the left as well. Aronson probably with the 2 weeks off probably slip straight back into our attacking midfield.
So you would change both of the wingers?
Potentially, yeah. Just because they played so many minutes on international duty and Ramazani and obviously Gnonto came back early. I don't expect Gnonto to be fit, actually. So we're probably going to see Solomon and Dan James, if I'm perfectly honest. But I would probably just give somebody a few more minutes against Swansea because I don't think he's making wholesale changes. I think the quality is good enough to come in and still do a job. Not as good a job as Solomon and Dan James, but certainly not on form. But I think they've probably got the potential to do as good a job. So, I expect probably Piru up top on his own. I'm going to say that it does give Dan James some more minutes. I'm going to say Ramazani right. I'm going to say Aronson central, and then Solomon starts on the left. And then everyone else is normal. Tanaka.
Rothwell in midfield.
Yeah, Tanaka with Rothwell, and then you've got Firpo. Then again, Firpo could be question mark if he's not back till Thursday, Friday, with the flights and stuff.
Playing on
There's
Wednesday,
a good chance they might give him a rest. You might see Byron back, but other than that, everything else as you were.
It's a big miss for us, though, isn't it? If Firpo's not there, he's been a bit of a machine in terms of creating chances and taking them actually.
It is because he we look so much better with a left-footed left back in a team that attacks a lot. Who'd have thought? So, but yeah, I think I do think he would probably he'd arguably be a bigger miss than Willy Gnonto for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's been impactful this season, and he's to be just remaining positive. Farke won't change anything, even though it's a 3-game week. Dreadful management of the squad.
I reckon he's.
Great,
I reckon Farke's shagging Easy B's wife.
Okay.
Predictions.
No, Carl, I'm just going to come to you for the opinions on the starting lineup. Are you agreeing with Luke, or are you seeing it slightly differently?
I think Farke will probably want to make minimal changes to a starting 11. But we had a scenario this season already where Firpo was laid back on a Friday, but he only ended up being in the squad. I think it might have been away to Watford, perhaps, where there was an international break and Firpo didn't get back until the Friday afternoon or something, but he still travelled with the squad and was named on the bench. And he came off to set up Joseph for the second goal, I think. Am I correct in saying that?
I will argue it.
Or that could have been potentially last year, but I don't think we'll see many changes. I think if players are fit enough, players are going to tell Farke they're fit enough to play if he asks them. He's not going to base it off anything other than a player telling him, I'm fit enough and ready to go. Because I think if you have to trust your players, and if your player tells you you're fit enough, then you have to start him if you're comfortable starting him, and that's the team you want to play.
I think that's fair. I do think that's fair. Right, okay. We'll do a bit of this. So the first one after I press go in the comments.
Auto know better predictions.
Lands in the detail I'm capturing. I've written mine already, but Luke, you're ahead of me in the table. So I'm going to come to you first. Where are you going on this one?
3-1 leads.
Oh. Carl? Also ahead of me in the table, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to go...
Oh, no, it's Jay that's ahead of me. You're around the same as me, I think.
I'm going to go 3-0 leads. Clean sheet.
I have also gone 3-0 leads.
Oh!
And was that the first comment? Which means you've screwed it, Carl, because I've been fucking diary. I've been getting the wins, but I haven't been getting a scoreline for ages. Is that the first one that somebody's popped up from Mark?
Right, yeah.
Mark, White Snake.
Gary Barlow and Mark Fingy's love child.
Mark Barlow.
That'd be some boring kid if Mark from Take That of Gary Barlow had a kid, wouldn't it?
Oh, stop the press. Stop the press. Easy B, I hope we win. Come on, boy. That's the fucking stuff.
Right, hang on. We've got a couple more in as well because Johnny Brown is in our predictions league and he has gone 3-0 as well. And there's one from Jay. I think did he go 2-0?
Yeah.
I haven't seen one from Schmarty.
He won't have stayed long, will he? He'll have had to do iron his missus' socks or something.
Thank God you said socks.
Okay. Fine.
Anyway.
So just in terms of the way that we approach things, so we do tend to do a bit of an Andy's Man Club bit on a regular basis on this podcast. He says frantically padding while getting the detail in front of him. We are going to slightly change this, but we're going to slightly change this in coming weeks. And what we're going to have is just people giving a little bit of insight as to some of the elements that they've been through, some of the things that they've benefited from through attending Andy's Man Club. And just really sharing a little bit of their experience there. And I did have it there and I've just lost it. So I'm just going to read out what we've read out before and then we're going to introduce that over the coming weeks. So if you're going through a storm or have recently been through one and you're a man over 18, perhaps Andy's Man Club Leeds may be able to help you. With venues in Horsforth, Kirkstall, Pudsey, Central Leeds, Beeston, Seacroft and Morley, open 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Monday barring bank holidays. They also run weekly and monthly social events with the aim to get men talking and to smash the stigma around men's mental health. Details of the venues and everything they are doing is at Andy's Man Club Leeds Facebook, so please give them a follow and help spread the word. One other thing that I'm going to mention, and we can pop up some of these comments just as we're having the outro. One of the other things I'm going to mention is there is a charity game between Leeds United content creators taking place over the course of the summer. I'm really looking forward to this. I've already been out and bought my Adidas World Cups. It turns out I'd already bought some boots last year, but I'd forgotten completely. So I've been out and spent some money on my boots to make sure that I am motivated to be able to wear them. I'm really looking forward to it. Carl, what's your thoughts? Looking forward to it?
I can't wait, man.
A little bit scared?
Can't wait. I'm genuinely really can't wait for it. I just think obviously it's for a good cause and all that as well. Prostate Cancer UK. I can't wait. I genuinely can't wait. It's going to be some crack.
Good man.
Just get me fitness up.
Luke, do you think it's a way off? Do you think you're going to make it?
Considering my knee gave way 4 times today, just walking to a toilet at work, probably not. I think there's something real major going on down there, but
you'll be there in some capacity.
I will be there, and it's
the water boy.
Whether I'm going to be. No, I'm actually might be one of the team coach managers. So you better start being nice.
Delivering the hard messages. No, you fucker, you're coming off.
No, you best be wearing a suit for that job, man.
We're in South Leeds, aren't we?
One of those cream ones, like the what did they call Liverpool? What did they call them? Spice Boys.
Yeah.
With
it's
a
totally different
tie.
Totally different meaning nowadays.
It is, isn't it? Although.
So yeah, I mean, even if I can just come in on in goal for 5 minutes and give the people what they want,
yeah, cool. And a poll winner, please, Luke.
So this week, shit take of the week is in last place, Big Hard Champ versus Big Hard Champ with 5%. In third place was The Data Is Wrong. In second place,
really? I thought
Dan
that were a strong contender.
I did as well. Second place, Dan James, the least improved with 25%. And the winner with a massive 50% of the votes was Do the No Promotion with Me.
Wow.
Promotion. Yeah, I like that.
Wow. Lovely. And,
hold on.
Hey, oh, has got a shit tech this week, my little sparrowfart.
Carl, I've been trying to move shit along. You keep playing bits. You keep giving fucking long...
It's all about comedic timing, man. Do you telling me you didn't find that goddamn funny? Is that what you're saying? Like...
Thank you, Luke, for updating us on the poll. Thank you, Carl, for interjecting with the video. Jay says, give us a tune, Mark Barlow. And Mark Barlow says, all I do each night is pray we go up. Thank you very much for your time on this wonderful evening, fellas. We're going up as fucking champions.
Fucking
evening.
Right.